live look now at NASA's Wallops Flight Facility in Virginia. No humans aboard. We're less than a minute away from launch, but ants, the ANTS kind from a school class, and fresh fruit and other supplies are about to lift off, headed for the space station.
For a minute, you thought it was ants as in relatives of yours.
Well, one could suggest that.
But no, it's insects. All right, today's launch is the latest from private U.S. firms, now doing what we used to count on NASA to do. So for more on the significance of today's launch, let's go to Tarek Malik. He is the managing editor for Space.com. Tarek, thanks for joining us. What's happening here today?
Well, we're just less than a minute away from what would be a landmark delivery flight for this company, Orbital Sciences. It's the first time they're actually hauling more than a ton of cargo to the station.
How are they going to catch this thing up there at the space station?
Well, it arrives on Sunday, and astronauts will use a robotic arm to grab onto it and just kind of reel it in and park it on the station so they can get in and get all the good stuff on board.
Is this the beginning of what may turn out to be later on sort of a space taxi system that will actually take astronauts? And here's the liftoff. But go ahead and answer.
Yeah, well, this is part of NASA's plan to really buy these services that it needs so it doesn't have to do them itself. It has these contracts for robotic spacecraft. We're seeing this great shot of an Antares rocket now launching to the station. And in the next few years, they want to buy commercial spacecraft seats for American astronauts, too. They're not available yet. Probably like in the next 2-3 years is what they're looking at.
And you keep saying astronauts, but what's on board today they're calling antronauts.
That's right. These ants are probably the biggest number of critters on board this mission. They're going up in a special little ant farm to really show or test how they react to weightlessness. It's a swarm behavior experiment. There's students all across the country that are buying their own little ant farms. They're going to compare how they react on the ground with these ants in space.
Are they testing other things, for example, electronics and hardware in the space environment?
Yeah, also on this spacecraft there's 33 small satellites called CubeSats. Some of those, one of them called ArduSat-2, is built with off-the-shelf stuff you can find at the store. And what they want to know is this stuff that you can buy, you know, at Best Buy or whatever. You know, will it, with very little modification, work in space? And if so, you know, you could build really cheap satellites out of that. Anyone could build their own satellite and launch it into space if they have a ride like this rocket that we're watching here. There's another satellite swarm called a Flock by a company in San Francisco called Planet Labs, and this is like 28 satellites, little tiny cubes that will watch the Earth from space and you know, take pictures and that type of thing.
And that makes sense. I mean, that does make sense about what we might learn from the technology going up into space. But really, what will we learn if ants are weightless?
Well, the goal of the ant experiment is one, as you mentioned, to really reach out to these kids and get them involved in space science and research. And the other thing that they're hoping from this swarm behavior study is to apply that to mathematical formulas to be able to kind of monitor traffic patterns on Earth better, you know, computer simulation types of work.
Okay, well, Tarek Malik, thanks so much for joining us for the launch. Great to have your expertise.
Great, thanks a lot for having us.
Okay.